This is the DNA Pest Control Podcast with your hosts, Daniel and Anthony. All right, welcome back to another episode, everybody. Is that off?
What's off?
Okay, it's off. Sorry. The light was still on, and I don't have headphones on. Welcome back to another episode. Please share and subscribe to this podcast. Share it to your best friends and let them know that, hey, DNA, Daniel and Anthony are awesome people.
And we don't charge.
Yeah, we don't charge anything. This is completely free.
Yep.
We record these long episodes. Well, they're not long, but we spend a lot of time recording them and even more time editing them, right?
No,
we don't edit them at all.
Raw.
Yeah.
Raw.
Yeah. But please go ahead and, subscribe and share, and it'll help us out. Leave us a review. So what's today's topic, Daniel?
Well, so this is one apparently you have a lot of questions about.
I do, and actually, just rebound it to me. So it's about incentives in your company, and we're going to prioritize the pest control industry and maybe even prioritize technicians a little bit. But it's something I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm sure a lot of people do want to know, and maybe techs can listen to this and be like, hey, I listened to this podcast, I have this idea, I'm going to present it to my manager now. So incentives, and when we say incentives, it's either, hey, here's a gift card, or, hey, here's a bonus for you if you sell X amount, or if you upsell X amount of accounts, or if you get X amount of 5-star reviews, here's the incentive for that.
Yeah. So incentives is an interesting one in business, at least from the research I've done.
Now, and real quick, to cut you off.
Yeah.
Sorry. A lot of jobs want to pay you that, the hourly rate you make, and that's it, right? Would you say that? That's what they budget for?
Are you meaning like in pest control?
Yeah.
So yes and no. So now if we're talking, and I won't call out specifically the company.
Yeah, don't.
But there's some companies that focus 100% on door-to-door sales. They do not pay commission plus a base salary for technicians, or a base hourly. So those companies, no, there's not really incentives, but their whole business plan is not meant to incentivize, technicians at all. Their whole business plan is to sell.
Yeah.
So they don't really care, about that. Now, if we're talking about other companies, and there are big companies that do this where they'll pay you an hourly plus a commission. Yeah.
And for people who may not know, a commission is a percentage of like the production you do. You say you get 1% of the production of your day. That's your commission pay.
Yeah. And
for sales and things like that.
Yeah. And so everybody's a little bit different. Most companies here, I've noticed they've been kind of, it's really all over the place on what the pay is.
Yeah.
But a big majority moved away from commission, and they went more strictly towards hourly.
Yeah.
Or if they did a commission, it was you have to produce, or you have to do $20,000 in a month, and then we'll pay you commission.
Which is weird, because if you're not scheduling your own route, and it's like, if you make a sell, because I know a lot of techs have told me even that I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
You know what tech I'm talking about, that they've sold a route and made the route so giant and full, and they sold like 900 accounts, that they ended up splitting his route, and then he ended up with less accounts than before, because they're like, okay, cool, you did your thing, but now you lose accounts because now we're splitting it, and now instead of 2 routes between you and another guy, we could get a third guy on if we take half from each of your routes. So
yes, well, and so you got to realize, so that's why a lot of companies, the incentive behind it is you get a lot of the money from the sell.
Yeah.
So if you do grow a route, obviously they're going to split your route eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inevitable. It's just growing in general. Right. Eventually, when you grow a family, you're not going to stay in a 1-bedroom apartment. Now you have to move. You have to get into a bigger house.
Yeah.
So you have to do it. So when a guy like that says that is true. I've actually heard that with a lot of different sales.
Yeah, that's what I heard from 1 or 2 people.
Ecolab, they do the same thing with their salesmen.
Yeah.
I'll say that because Ecolab. Oh no, they do pest control too. But it doesn't matter.
Ecolab's a great company.
Well, I knew the chemical side of it, not the actual like restaurant chemicals and cleaning supplies. A guy worked for him. He ended up starting his own company, but they did that same thing. He owned, like, his territory was like 3 states.
Yeah.
And he sold so much and he grew it so big. He pretty much didn't have to work anymore because the people he sold to just kept ordering and he just kind of sat back. And so then they ended up splitting up his area and taking his pay and cutting it in half.
Yeah.
And he got mad.
And that's terrible because here's the thing though. Now, and here's the main reason why I want to bring this up is that, so now that guy gets mad, right? And you said he left and started his own company.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You lose an awesome guy that was even capable of doing that for your company. Right. Yeah. And your incentive should have been, dude, if you could sit on your couch after you've sold over 3 states and set up enough residual income for both you and our company, that's your incentive. Why would you be like, well, actually, no. Well, hold on. If we split it, we save a ton of money, and then now he has to sell more again.
Well, the thing is, they're not looking at saving money because they don't actually save money.
Well, they want to make more money again because if he's content,
make more
he's going to stop selling.
Yes.
But that should be your incentive. If you're a badass salesman.
Well, the problem with that business plan is they should have never set it up to where he would make so much money residually to where he had to stop. That's not the whole point. The whole point should have been even if you are a technician, your pay structure should be structured to where you make more money on your sales.
Yeah.
So even if you build up 1,000 route, it's massive and they split it, it shouldn't affect you in any way because now you can go out and sell more and even make more money. Now you're out making more money because you have more time to sell than you have time to spray because you'll make more money selling than you would spraying.
Right. But so it still goes down to the factor of should there even be incentives built in for it? So say you hire on a salesman and the simple incentive is, hey, you get 30% of an annual contract if you sell it, right? Yeah. And then, okay, that's your incentive. But what if there was more on top of it? Not only say, hey, you get 30%, but if you develop 50 accounts that we see are on, down the road that have stayed with us, we'll give you a bonus. Now, don't you think that if you give people incentives, they would perform better? Because a lot of times when I worked fast food for minimum wage, there's no incentive there for me to do my best at all. And I don't think there is for anybody.
Well, now this is the research I've done.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I had a sales team. And I did a lot of incentives, a ton of incentives, okay? You are absolutely correct. There is and I will say 20% because there's an actual law of 80-20. So I will say 20% of the technicians that get an incentive will actually do it. The 80% of the technicians will not ever do anything because they don't care. Same in fast food.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You do an incentive, 20% will maybe do it. 80% is not even going to do it. They don't care.
But here's the thing, though. So there was an incentive a long time ago. It was who could. This was at Jack in the Box. Mm-hmm. It was who could upsell the most cheesecakes, right? So I killed it because I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, so what do you get? And she's like, well, you get 2 weeks of free lunch.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, but here's the catch: as long as it's under $5. Dude, you couldn't get like you couldn't get $2 menu items on there for.
Well, let's be
$5.
honest. You were getting free lunches anyway.
Yeah.
So
well, let's not talk about that part.
But now you don't have to feel bad about it because you won.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so there was an incentive, and instantly. So now let's break it down into 2 parts. So this is an entry level minimum wage position for college students. I was in college, and it's for pretty much they want to take advantage of younger people. Because when I got the job at Jack in the Box, it was literally I showed up, dropped the resume off right after school, and she was like, you want to do an interview right now? I'm like, what? Because I'm used to working at, retail stores, like it's a process. And I was like, sure. And I sat down, I got the job that day, and she's like, come in tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't care.
So now,
they'll hire anybody.
Yeah, I know. But the problem with that is they'll hire any college student, any young teen, because they know we can get away with paying you minimum wage, and you'll actually want to try because these are your first jobs. And I've seen it. If there's 30-year-olds that are doing it, they like doing it. Or if they don't like doing it, they need to do it. But there's no 30-year-olds that are going to go bust their ass at a fast food restaurant because you're not making any money and you're doing some of the hardest work. And I'll say it right now. running fast food graveyard shift is like the hardest work ever. When you have to make tacos and fry fries and fry everything up on top of making someone shake and taking the next order and then collecting the money from the person at the window, that's the hardest thing ever. Oh, yeah. I don't care what you say,
I just
man.
talked to Drew about this.
Yeah,
I know. Was that's like, you know Drew, what? And Drew, fast food's probably harder than this job.
100%. And that's exactly what I told Drew. Now, here's the thing, is that when they gave me an incentive, they said, hey, sell cheesecakes. We're going to tally them up. Whoever gets the most gets 2 weeks free lunch. But if they were to say, hey, start upselling cheesecakes, I wouldn't have cared, right? I would have been like, whatever, I'll say it. But I was so much more enthused, and because I was taking orders in the drive-thru, that people felt my enthusiasm, and then they were like, oh, yeah, let me get a cheesecake. Now, if I was like, would you like to try a cheesecake today?
Yeah.
Do you know what I was saying this? I was like, would you like to try one of our delicious cheesecakes? Or I'd be like, how's about dessert? You want me to throw a cheesecake on there? I was approaching it differently because I'm like, oh, okay, I want to win this competition. I want 2 weeks free lunch.
Did you win?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I sold like 12 cheesecakes. The next person sold one.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like the only one doing it. There was a point where I was working on the fryer and then one of the girls that was doing the drive-thru gave me the headset. And she's like, just do it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because they were all getting a kick at how happy I was doing it. But here's the thing. Back to incentives again. We keep going back and forth. But who cares? Anyways.
No, we're good. We're
good. That's the thing is I tried now. And I don't believe in that 20% thing because maybe if it's 80% that won't even care, maybe it's because the way that job's structured is already unhealthy for people.
Well, the whole 80-20 rule is just, it's the same that goes for football, everything. You know, you'll have 20% of the players that actually are the starters. 80% of them are not going to start. It's just it's a natural law that's just come up.
Well, I know. So I know that there's natural things that there's outliers. There's people that are going to stand up above others and actually commit to it.
Now you're absolutely right, though. You know, why not present an incentive?
Yeah.
So at least you get the 20% to do it.
Well,
80% is not going to,
right.
So that's perfect.
But here's the thing too, and then we won't get too much into detail, but we've done a competition here about 5-star reviews. Remember? Yeah. And it wasn't even a big incentive, but the thing is that we've got like how many? Like 30 plus reviews just off of that.
Yeah. Well, we had a system that helped us out too.
Yeah. Right. But still, everyone was enthused about it, and people, everyone, and then we probably got like maybe 80, 100, not even legit reviews, because like the way the app's set up, like they can review it, but no one will ever see it except us.
Yep. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that once you throw those incentives in there, it makes the job more fun, especially, and this is why I'm going to throw it in for the technicians. If you give your technicians monthly incentives, bi-monthly incentives, it makes it more fun. One, we already know everyone could do, well, not everyone, but all licensed techs could run a route. Right? They could hold the route down. They could do the callbacks. They could take care of the pests.
Yep.
It gets redundant after a while, right?
Yeah.
So then once you say, hey, guys, by the way, I'm going to pay for pizza for you.
Yeah.
Get me 5-star reviews this month. Something super simple, and then I'll buy you pizza.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That mixes things up. It gets you out of the repetitiveness, and you're like, "What? Oh, cool!" And then you're gonna be happy talking to a client, like, "Hey, can I get a 5-star review?" Yeah, because I want a pizza.
Well, see now you're one to talk to because you're one that would do it.
Yeah.
Now there's some that don't.
But hold on, I know, but I'd bet on it.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate over
I know. I want you to.
So,
but I'll bet on it that way more. So here's the thing. If it's some impossible incentive that you won't hit, then that's when you don't even care. Like if it's like, hey, give me 300 5-star reviews and you get like, what, $20. That's what. And then you're like, okay, dude. It has to be a realistic, incentive for everybody. Gosh. You know what? We should have this podcast be a drinking game and be like, hey, drink every time we say incentive.
There you go.
And you'll be drunk all the way to the grave.
So all those Johns out there,
right?
Grab your bottle.
So I also think that there does need to be a balance with, new promotions or incentives, things like that, or little contests. Because when some companies that I've worked for, like I'll throw Target out under the bus. Yeah. I remember one time they had this weird like incentive of like clocking out before you hit your 5th hour, making sure you always clocked out.
Weird.
And their whole thing was, hey, your incentive for doing that is you don't get fired. Because the second literally. And you're like, what?
That's your bonus. You gotta keep your job.
They're like, if you clock out 1 minute over 5 hours, you're fired. And they actually enforced it. I'm like, for what? I don't get why you would do that. Like and then people aren't going to care about it. But when you balance out, the incentive of maybe it's like, hey, you've had a healthy clock in and clock out for 6 months straight. If you could keep it up for the rest of the year, this is what we're going to do for you. Yeah. And if it's something manageable, that's not like insanely like, hey, get 38 sales a day, or something crazy, then I feel like everyone could participate. And when you get people that don't want to participate, it's because maybe, let's face it, even if it was something as simple as get 5-star reviews in a month, you get a pizza. Yeah. I bet there's people that have to say, I don't care, I'll buy my own pizza. Well, I think there'll be a lot less.
And that's the thing I think that I think employees don't understand sometimes on the owner standpoint or the boss's standpoint is they're trying to, they're just trying their best. So if you have an idea that would, excite you, put that idea out there. Yeah. The other thing is if you are one of the 20%, and I will bring that up, I do believe it is 80-20 rule. And if you are one of the 20% that is excited about that and would jump in, I think it's your job to bring in, somebody, from the 80% up to that 20%. And speaking of that, you actually just made me think about a book I read with Urban Meyer. He's a football coach, or was. Okay. He actually used the rule 80-20. And he would take the 20% of his football players and because those 20% were the ones that wanted to go to the gym at 4 a.m, 5 a.m. What he did is he put a rule that you can't go to the gym unless you bring one of the 80% with you. Yeah. And so he started to, try to offset that 80-20 rule, which worked in his favor because he ended up winning a national championship with the 3rd string quarterback. Right. Which is unheard of. So, but with that being said, is people, the guys who are the losers, which are probably not even listening to this podcast because they're bums and losers.
Yeah, our fans are the top-notch people anyway.
Oh, absolutely. So, of
course.
Because
this isn't sarcasm either.
No, it's not. The ones that started listening, they already fell off because they knew this isn't for me. Yeah. I'm a bum. Yeah. But the ones that are, you're the ones that need to step up and bring in more people into that excitement because the owners do it. Yeah. And then nobody does it. They don't want to do it again. Yeah. They look at it as we tried it and it sucked. Yeah. And no one wanted to do it. There was like 3 people. So we're done doing it. We don't want to do it anymore.
100%. Get like-minded people and a recruiting team that's going to find people that are in that 20%. Yeah. And hopefully 20% can turn to 50%. Yeah. Also, another thing I want to bring up that's a huge incentive was the last company I worked for. I was doing, forklift driving in a warehouse. They didn't believe in raises. They didn't give annual raises or nothing like that. What they did was they just gave a bonus, and they're like, that makes up your raise, plus you make more money. But here's the catch, was that your bonus was dependent on your production, your efficiency throughout the year,
how well the company
and how
does.
well pretty much how well the company does, but they base it off of how well you do. And I'm gonna say air quotes around that because they don't care. They care about the bottom line. Yeah. But then they turn it on you. Well, you didn't do that good. And what they did to me was when I got my first employee review, they gave me the score, right? And they gave me a mediocre score because I'm new. I get it. I don't care. Yeah. I didn't even qualify for a bonus. Had to be there. I was off a month. I had to work 1 more month. I would have got my bonus. Oh, yeah. So now it comes around again. I get my review, same exact score as my first one. Oh, wow. And in my head, okay, 1, this is completely wrong. I've been doing way better than before. Yeah. and then my bonus was crappy because of it. Now, and I'm not trying to sound entitled, right? I've told you this story a lot, right? Yeah, I'm not trying to sound entitled or anything like that, but it's when you're making less money and there's no incentive for me to keep working here aside from this bonus that's dependent on just the bottom line, the bottom dollar.
Yeah.
I don't want to work here. And that's why I left that company to work with you. Because it's like there's no reason for one, I don't even care if I get a 30-cent raise at the end of the year. Give me some incentive to work here. Yeah. Aside from working us over and paying us little money. Yeah. If you're not going to give anyone a proper incentive to work somewhere, then why do you think people are going to quit? They're going to go somewhere else where they want to work, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot behind. I think there's a lot more to, I think incentivizing does make it fun. It does help. Right. But I think there's a lot more to it because for me, even I worked at a warehouse, just like you worked at a warehouse. But I actually thoroughly enjoyed my job.
We're warehouse brothers.
Yeah, we are, right? Yeah. But I actually, to be honest with you, I didn't even care. I didn't need the money.
But hold on, you were young.
I was young.
And you didn't have a family yet?
No. But I could have stayed there.
But you wouldn't have not stayed there once you had your family.
No, you're 100% correct. Which I would have. I would have gotten raises, to be honest with you.
Which is why. Well, yeah, but not if there's a company that's literally built in their business model. No raises, not even for your best employee. They just get a bigger bonus.
Yeah. Right? So and that's different. But I did like working there, and everybody got along. And so the environment was actually very, very good.
Right. But then they had to have been taking care of their, older employees, the employees with families, because that's why I wanted out of that last place so much is because there was zero reason why I should be underpaid working at such a stressful job while trying to raise my family when there's an awesome job. And I'm not trying to, blow you up, but there's an awesome job working with you. Mm-hmm. To support my family. Like, why would I do that? And why does anyone want to put up with that? Like, and I'm not trying to throw dirt on anyone working for Amazon, but why do you think a lot of people working for Amazon don't like it?
Well, and Amazon, his whole plan isn't to incentivize or keep people.
Exactly.
He wants his CEOs.
He flushes all the younger people out. Yeah. But who runs Amazon is not, it's him, but it's the people doing all the crap in the warehouse.
Yeah.
It's those people. And if you don't want to keep those people around, you don't want to keep them healthy, then of course 90 of them are going to get coronavirus because you're not taking care of your people. Just crazy things are happening. Yeah. And it's like, you got to make sure that there's incentives. What if not him, but what if he said, okay, district managers hold each manager of each facility accountable to have incentives, quarterly incentives, anything, saying, hey, by the way, if your whole group, this is what my last company did. Mm-hmm. If there's 0 accidents for this quarter, everyone gets $100, right? Yeah. They would do things like that, but it was like $100.
You'd go get cut, and you're like, I'm not telling anybody.
And here's the funny part: someone got hurt, not even in the warehouse where we were working, in a different warehouse, and it knocked everyone off. That was funny. Sucks. Everyone was mad, and it was like within the last week.
Oh no!
But he got hurt really bad though. It was like no one.
He fell off the building.
Well, he burned his face off or something.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay, so it was like a legitimate. Probably like you need to go look at the machine and fix it.
Yeah.
Type of injury.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And I didn't mean to, because we all love Amazon. I think some crazy number of people have Amazon Plus in their home, right? Or Prime, Amazon Prime.
You're thinking of Disney right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking Disney Plus, which is great for kids, by the way. I got 3-year-olds that love that thing.
There you go. Thanks, Disney, for that.
Yeah, but right. But let's get back to our industry, actually.
No, you're right. I look at it. There is a lot of incentives that can be provided. There's a lot of things that, companies should be doing.
Well, and real quick, and this is, I hope you don't mind me talking about it. You'll just randomly say, hey, let the office lady know what pizza you want.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't do anything to get that pizza.
No, you guys didn't.
Right? But imagine because you're just being nice. You're an awesome guy.
Thanks.
But just imagine if there was an incentive for that. I don't know her. Like this month, hey, get 1 5-star review and then let the lady know what pizza you want. And you're like, what? Oh, okay. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And then there you go. You get your 5-star review, right? And then it makes you happier to work somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm really happy working here with you. Yeah. And it's because you do things like that. And I'm sure everyone's going to be happy working with you, and especially the more we grow.
Well, not everyone.
Right. Well, I know. Well, from now on, you know.
So not everyone.
Some people you can't win with, and we've witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah.
When you're a hopeless wreck, unfortunately.
Well, once again, it's not our audience, but there's bums out there.
There is.
And unfortunately, it doesn't matter where you work or where you are. There's bums everywhere that just don't care about what they're doing. They're just not part of the game. They just don't want to play that game. Yeah. They're the cool kids who are in the corner, just like, whatever, dude. I don't care.
And I think a lot of that runs into people that have worked for companies that don't care. Like I've worked for Walmart. They just want you to show up and clock in and clock out.
Oh yeah.
They don't
care.
And I'm sure maybe the higher up you get, the more it gets. But I swear, like you clock in and it's like, okay, this is your job. It's like, okay.
Oh no, they play on that 80-20. Yeah, they fill up. They put 100 employees, knowing 20 is going to
But here's the thing: is they try their best. They half-heartedly try their best at making like it fun to work there, and things like that. But why do you think all those jobs offer like college programs? Because like they're just reminding you, hey, by the way, you don't want to make this your career because we're just gonna cycle you out. We want people to show up and be enthusiastic for 5 years and then realize working sucks.
Well, that's true. I mean, but a lot of those jobs weren't meant to sustain a family.
They're not. No, they're not meant to sustain a family. But at the same time, even if it's not, Well, real quick, because I have ideas I want to give to hopefully any managers or owners. That
all right, so we'll stop it there. Yeah. We'll stop going back and forth. So what are the incentives that someone could do?
So this is for anyone. If you're thinking of starting a pest control company, if you're thinking, or if you already have one, or if you're a manager with the power to do it, if you're an owner, or even if you're an office personnel that has the power to, have some incentives going out, start them up. Like seriously, even if they don't work, give it a try, because what if it does work? Because you've done it throughout the years I've worked here. It's been
reviews, different things like that.
Sales, a ton of things. And even I've thrown a lot of them too when I was manager. And it worked out, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But here's the thing: is that it doesn't have to be a big one. It doesn't have to be a small one. Like you can't tell people, well, if you want to, go ahead. Like, hey, by the way, $1,000 bonus if you do this. But then I'm sure you don't want to put pressure, I don't think, right? No. It could be something as small as a pizza, or, hey, here's a gift card to go get a pizza, whatever.
Yeah.
But make your work environment more fun, because when it's infectious, if someone's in a good mood, it's infectious. Your tech's going to see a lot of people every day. Right? Maybe half of his accounts are going to be home. If he has a big smile on his face and he's asking for a review, that person's going to smile. And that person's going to smile when they go see someone if they go to the store. So it's making a better environment for everybody and for your workplace. Like if all the techs came into a meeting and they're all smiling like, oh, we hit the incentive. The attitude is going to be much better, and the attitude of working for your company is going to be through the roof. People are going to want to stay there. They want to work here. They're like, I'm not going to look for a new job next year. I'm fine here. I want to keep working here.
So what incentives? What ideas do you have for incentives?
So I would say the easiest one, because we've learned this from experience. So one, we know not all techs can be salesmen, right?
No.
But all techs can ask for a review. Right? That's the easiest incentive. Hey, can I have a Yelp or Google review for the company? Ask the client. That's the easiest one a tech could do, and give an incentive for that. A gift card, whatever. Give them a month time frame. Let them know, hey, from this month to this month, either have it be a group project or have it be an individual project. And let them know, here's the reward if we hit that number. But be fun with it. Don't be like, okay, guys, you were one off, we're not doing it. Maybe if they're one off, be like, okay, I'll extend it 3 days, or something.
I'll let you hit it.
Because you want it to be fun. You want it to be a fun environment. And no, I'm not speaking up like I'm some kind of lazy union worker of like, okay, you got to bend over backwards for your employees. No, you don't. But you got to realize we're all in this together. If you own a company, if you're a manager and you quote unquote doing more well than the other guy, that it's hard to say, but beneath you, whatever you want to say it, that's running a route or whatever, and you're the manager over 10 routes. I get it. You might be doing more well off, but you want to make sure that those guys running those 10 routes are happier. Because what happens when one leaves? Then you're going to be running that route, or you got to hire someone to hurry up and run that route. Now, what if 4 leave? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Who's going to run those routes? You and the owner, or you and the other manager? Who's going to run those routes? So if you want guys to be happy to work with you, incentives work great. And this is like one of the best industries to do it because it's so easy to implement it.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think on top of that, though, I think incentivizing makes it fun, makes it different, makes it interesting.
Yeah.
But it's making everybody feel a part of something. And I think that is I think that's a huge incentive alone, is making someone feel that they're a part of, doing something there. Because if they don't care about the job.
They
don't care about the client. They don't care.
And this is the most crucial industry for someone to not care. Because you're dealing with pesticides. You're constantly dealing with customer service. Yeah. You're dealing with people's pets, their well-being, their family's well-being. And if you get in that mood of like, I don't care, like, I don't, I just show up and clock in, clock out and get everything done. Yeah. Then you just get a toxic route.
Well, and that's the thing is it does trickle down. So the managers or the owner, if you don't care, the employees are not going to care.
100%.
So if you're not doing incentives,
that's everywhere.
Yeah, that's everywhere. So if you're not doing those things, or you think you're above them, or you're busy, or whatever it may be, you really need to reevaluate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because it is going to create, that alone is just going to create a toxic environment, but no one's going to be really invested in it unless they know somebody else there.
Yeah.
And, they've created something between them. But other than that, there's no ties.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, is that you want... So I'm a firm believer, and I'm sure there's a lot of studies, because I actually haven't studied this, but I've experienced it in real-world scenarios, because at my older job, I did take a manager position. I've been, experienced with it, and I've worked side by side with managers sometimes and seen the way they approach things. Mm-hmm. When you get employees that want to work, and they want to do better, and they want to make sure they're doing their best for the company, you're going to get a more productive and a more better job done. Yeah. Than someone who doesn't care.
Yeah.
When you have someone, and let's say like if your job is to, they call it zoning an aisle, which is making sure an aisle's all neat, making sure everything's FIFO'd, everything like that, which is first in, first out.
Yep.
That person is either going to half-ass it because they don't care, or they're going to be like, they're going to treat it as if it's their own store.
Yeah.
Because for a fact, if you'd ask 9 out of 10 people and said, hey, if you own this store, how would you want it to look? I'm sure a lot of times they'll be like, oh, perfect. I want everything to be absolutely perfect, clean. I don't want there to be one thing out of place. Mm-hmm. So how can you get your employees to get to that mindset? And I think the gateway to get them to that mindset of, no, you're not just someone who gives me a check. You're someone that I want to help grow the business with.
Yeah.
Incentives is definitely a gateway. It's not the number one thing. I do think there's a lot more to it. But especially in our industry, I think that's the gateway. Because it's something as simple as asking for reviews, or something as simple as just doing a good job at a house or something. And if people are like, hey, this tech did a good job, because like you have office personnel call in and say, how did Anthony do today?
Yeah.
And if they was like, great, he was so nice, and then he did a bunch of push-ups in my backyard. And
oh gosh, took his shirt off and started flexing.
Yeah. But I just think, and the reason why is because I care about this industry. I love this industry, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. But let's face it, man, this isn't the industry where you could just show up and clock in and clock out, because it's going to hurt everybody. How many times do you go to estimates and it's like people are kind of iffy on like, okay, well, the last guy was a bum. Like, it affects all of us. And especially pesticides. Why do you think there's so many controls over pesticides? It's because people don't care. And I get it. A lot of times owners could buy it themselves that aren't even in the industry, and they abuse the pesticides. Maybe they pour it down the drain. But still, it starts with us. Because if we could all say, actually, no, we take care of everything on our end, then they'll be like, okay, well, I guess you guys are fine. But
yeah.
No,
you're right. You're absolutely correct. It's not something to take lightly. And we do need to we need to be more involved with our technicians, with every guy.
And we see it time and time again, man. Like companies we don't want to name that just their whole business model is just toxic to the industry.
Yep. No, it's true. I mean, and I can't be super mad at them because
Well, they're making their money.
We make a lot of money off of them because
we
get their jobs.
We get all their accounts, man.
So, and I understand it. Someone has to step in, eventually as companies grow, they do just have to hire a bunch of people and weed out the bad. Yeah. And sometimes you can't weed out the bad fast enough.
Well, it's hard. Especially if you're a smaller, medium-sized company, look, it's hard finding the right people.
Yeah.
But still,
and especially here, because you have to make those people. You can't just find them. I mean, we're in a really weird and odd selective industry. Even looking for new guys, it's so weird because it's not like you can just go on, even Indeed. I mean, we get a bunch from Indeed. So if anybody's looking for guys, go on Indeed. But you can't go to like ZipRecruiter.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a general salesman, office staff. Well, it's just so finite.
It's a very niche market. That's for sure. Yeah. It is. No one knows about it. If you ask any regular person, that they're like, so how deep do you think pest control goes? And when we talked to the lady exterminator, even she's like, yeah, no one knows about any of this.
No, even what's his name?
Cole.
Colton. Yeah. He didn't even know.
You didn't forget his name. His name's Cole.
I did forget your name, Cole. Sorry about that.
No, dude, Cole.
But you're right.
Yeah, Cole didn't know. No one knew. I didn't know.
No,
I just called the number on the truck.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? There's all this to it. I just thought you show up and like do something. I don't even know what.
Yeah, and now thinking back, I was playing video games with some dude freaking spraying around my head. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, that was a tech. That was a guy actually spraying for bugs, and I didn't even care. I was just sitting on the couch playing video games.
Oh man.
And he's just like spraying around stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, do your thing. Get out of here.
That's great.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? I mean, it is, but you need to stand up. We need to be the ones, the few that actually care need to stand up and actually take care of it and make sure everything's in order. Yeah. Because even Jason being new into the industry and coming from a company that has a lot of years in the industry, it's not like they just started yesterday. They have 40 years in the industry or something like that. And
well, they're stuck in their old ways, but
and that's the
issue. Jason,
though.
don't give out the info of which company it is because we like the dirt that we've received.
Oh, but they're terrible. The stuff that they were telling him, I was like, what? Who told you that? That's illegal. If you do that, they're gonna take your license away, dude. Like you can't do that.
And I get where they're coming from. The only reason why they're even doing things like that, and I don't even want to get into that topic, but.
Well, this goes back to the incentives. There was zero incentives over there.
Well, to do that, exactly.
They did not bring the team together. They didn't make it a very healthy environment, to where, you couldn't necessarily talk about those things or be open about it. But that's part of what you're talking about, enjoying the job.
Right. No, exactly, 100%. Because if you have an environment where it's this, and that, and oh, by the way, you get paid this, but there's nothing you could do to be more involved into it. Yeah. Unless it's accidentally like, oh wait, actually this guy seems like a manager. Maybe we might want to talk to him. Yeah. That's not the environment you want. You want an environment where everyone's included. You don't want this inclusive environment of, okay, we just want to hire on X amount of technicians. Okay, how many accounts we got? Okay, there's 7 routes. Cool. Here you go. Here's all the routes for you guys. And by the way, you're going to make this much money. And okay, run the route for the next 30 years until we need to find someone else within those 30 years. Yep. It's just, that's not the environment you want. You want a good environment of everyone's happy, everyone's healthy. And look, not everyone could fall into that place. And then that's when you have to ask yourself, okay, maybe I need to replace this person for someone that wants to be a part of my team.
Yeah. So guys, if you are a technician, if you are a manager, if you are an owner, send us, DM us on Instagram or anything. Let us know the ideas of incentives that would incentivize you, so that we can bring it up in a later episode on personal ideas from the actual people and owners, stuff that's worked, and maybe give that information out to other companies so they can help incentivize their technicians and their employees. So send that information in. Let us know. DM us, email us, whatever you need to do. But let us know what those are so we can spread the word and get more people involved and more deeply involved in the pest control industry and more excited to actually work and do the right thing here.
Yep.
All right, guys.
We're like a pest control cult.
Yeah, kind of actually. Yeah, we just hate each other for some reason.
Cool. Thanks, right? Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Hey guys, this is Anthony, and here's a quick reminder. We want to hear from you, whether you're a technician, owner, or operator. We want to hear your stories, whether it's a horror story on the field, a funny story with the client, or just something straight up crazy or weird you've seen. And how can you do this, you ask? Well, our email is dnapestpodcast@gmail.com. That's DANDA pestpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us at Twitter and direct message us there at DNA Pest Podcast. That is D, the letter N, A, Pest Podcast. Follow us on Twitter. Or you can reach out directly through our website at dnapodcast.com. That's DANDA podcast.com. We want to hear from you, so let's hear it.